folks, it's Lee and Teresa from Stringfield Ridge Farm.
What's up?
We are going to do a little video, a tour of Stringfield Ridge Farm. And so we're going to quickly give a background.
3-hour tour.
We're going to quickly give a background that we bought this property about 12 years ago.
Started buying it in 2005.
And
so 15 years, and we paid for it in 5 years. So
yeah, Lee grew up here, raising tobacco, and we got together later on after his family had done moved from here. But we came back and lived next door, and then found out this property was for sale. And Lee wanted it real bad. He talked to the guy who owned it, and we got it on a land contract, a 5-year land contract. We got a really good deal on it. I would say a steal.
Yeah, it definitely was.
We got 8 acres, and it had a couple of mobile homes. It had a farmhouse on it, but the farmhouse ended up being too far gone, and we had to build our own little cabin back here. But we got it for $16,000, and then we built our little cabin for $10,000. So we've got $26,000 in our place, our 8 acres, and we love our little cabin. It's small, but Lee built it all by himself. No help at all. He done the plumbing, electric, and everything. Took 4 years, but that's okay.
I mean, I had a little help with hanging some of the drywall
well,
on
yeah,
the ceiling.
yeah,
you
okay,
know,
yeah.
But that was.
But he didn't. We didn't have to hire anybody.
No.
We didn't have to hire anybody to come
No.
in. He done the plumbing and electric and everything, and done it mostly on afternoons and weekends because he worked a full-time job. Still does. So we want to give you a little tour of Stringfield Ridge Farm. Also, the reason it is named Stringfield Ridge Farm is because the guy who owned the land for many, many years and built the house and put pecan trees. We have large, nice pecan trees that are the big paper shell pecans. He planted those and built a house here and raised tobacco here. And his last name was Stringfield, and we decided to honor him after we bought it by naming it Stringfield Ridge Farm. So, anything else? Anything you want to say?
Well, no, not really. I think you pretty much covered it all.
Okay.
So
We're going to give you a little tour. We planted fruit trees. We have chickens, quail. We have done pigs and a cow. And we love to forage. And this property has provided us with lots of foraging.
yes.
Plus the area we're in far, far western Kentucky, right by the Mississippi and Ohio River confluence. And there is a lot of foraging around us, and we have been able to get pieces, get things that we forage and bring here to our property also, so that we have it right here on our property, and we'll be showing you some of that too. So this is the front of the cabin we built. So here is our front yard. We have the chicken coop off to the side. Here's the house over this way. And then the chicken coop is off over here to the side. Then the greenhouse and my storage shed. And first up we got some, lean-to for the horse. First up we got some fruit trees here that we planted. What did we do first? The apple trees there?
Yeah.
There's 2 apple trees here. We planted those.
Yeah, 4 years ago. And then pear is like 3 years ago. And the same with grapes.
Grape arbor was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And we have over on the other side, there's the pasture with the horse. And over here on the other side, there is a pear tree and a peach tree. and a black walnut. The peach tree and the pear tree over there was about 3 years ago. So all of those are about 3 years old, and the 2 apple trees are about 4 years old. We did get some fruit last year. We got a pretty good amount of apples last year.
Right.
For the first time. And we got a few peaches, not a lot, but it looks like this year we're going to have a lot of peaches, and we're going to have a lot of pears off of this pear tree. We're not too sure about this one. It's got a few little balls on it we're not real sure about yet.
And you can show.
Okay. There's the little, they look kind of like pears, but the other tree, they look bigger and more like pears. We're just not sure about those little dudes.
Yeah.
So this is the first year. It's 3 years. This is the first year for these to have anything like this on them. Okay. There's the difference. That looks more like, we know that's going to be a pear.
Mm-hmm.
Those others are little bitty green balls, and we're just not real sure about them.
Right.
These are going to be pears.
Exactly.
And it's the 3rd year, and this will be the first year for it to have pears. It does not look like it's going to have a whole bunch. I think he counted 5 or 6 on there.
Yeah, on that one.
So there you go with that. Okay, now up here is the peach tree. It's about 3 years old, or is 3 years old. We had a few peaches off of it last year, but a lot of them got ate up by ants. So this year we have doctored it. We've put DE around the bottom, and we also saw a spray that we think we might get also on top of that, because it's loaded this year. It's got lots of little peaches this year, so we're really hoping to do good. I'm going to put it up here.
A lot of the little ones will end up falling off because there ain't no way it'll be able to support
that many. Yeah, it's loaded. It's loaded. So we're hoping we can at least have a pretty good crop.
A few off to make sure that we get a good crop.
There you go. So yeah, we're going to work on this and try to make sure. We have put a bunch of DE at the bottom. We used a little bit of 7 dust and a whole lot of DE. And like I said, we have found an organic spray that we are fixing to get and try on here also. It is just loaded this year, so we are tickled with that. And this is year 3. Last year it had maybe 10 or 12.
10 or 12, something like that.
And this year it's loaded, and we're really hoping for a good crop this year on that. So there you go with that. All right.
All right, this is our Nanking cherry. There's 2 of them here. They're small shrub type tree, and it's actually a variety of a cherry. They're a little sweet with some tartness to them. Great for jams and jellies. We've had them for about 8 or 9 years in this spot.
And they're huge.
And
huge.
I mean, storm has took a toll on it last year. Took a big branch out of the middle. But they don't grow like normal cherries. Instead of growing off of stems, they grow straight off of the branch itself. And as you can see, there's a little one right there.
I think they might have got hurt a little bit from that frost.
Yeah.
Because they are usually loaded.
The frost,
they are not as loaded this year, and I think the frost hurt them a little.
I mean, this here branch has several more on it. But you almost got to come in from underneath to find them until they get red.
They're usually covered. But we had a frost, a late surprise frost.
All right, guys, this is a mulberry tree, if you don't know what it is. Come up here you can see all them little berries that's growing on there. They look a lot like a zawberry or blackberry. Zawberry, it grows on a tree also, but they are delicious when they are ripe. But the bad thing about them is the birds usually try to get them before you're able to.
Yeah, you have to get in here and
So,
quick when they start ripening to
to
get
get in there
enough
quick.
of them.
But they are delicious to make jams and jellies out of, pies.
Now this has been here a long time. This is probably wild. We have
Yeah,
these
it's
wild in
wild.
our area, so this is a wild mulberry. And we have, and it's big. It's great big. There you go.
Yeah,
It's a big old tree.
he's
And so
several
it's been
years
here a
old.
long time. And they grow wild here. We've seen them all over the place.
Well, same
We
as
just happen to have two. Had two. Have
no,
two?
No, we got this one. We got that little one right there. And then we got the other one up there that Jonna used to always climb up in.
So we have
and
three?
Get the berries. Yeah.
Okay, three.
We got several small ones, but
Okay, here's our black walnut tree. It's been here a long time. It's probably wild here too. They grow wild here also. So, and it is always loaded. Always loaded. And you can see, I don't know if I can focus in, but it is loaded.
it's got
Of course, it always is.
tassels on it to pollinate itself for the black walnuts to form. And they will be big, nice black walnuts. Finish it up.
Okay, here's the elderberry bushes. We have them all over the property. The elderberry grow wild here. These are the black elderberry. They grow wild here everywhere. And we just happen to have a ton of it on our property. This is a big one that is right beside the house, a big bunch of it. It goes all the way from there across to there. And then there's one further back, and then we have some up in the front in the pasture. So we have plenty of elderberry.
And they're starting to make some little heads.
Okay. Yeah, they're just starting to make little
they're
flowering
just
heads.
now starting to come out.
Those will
They
get
will
big. Yep.
Huge. They'll be
Yeah.
bigger than both my hands put together.
Yep. And then in the fall, we'll have all kinds of elderberries. All right, next up, Lee's going to show you the pawpaw tree.
It's a pawpaw tree. We're together.
Pawpaw, it's going to show you the pawpaw tree.
Yeah. As you can see, it come out. It bloomed good this year. A lot of the blooms have already fell off. And now you've got your small little pawpaws starting to form. I just love it because the blooms are so pretty in the spring. Yeah, I
Can't see
don't.
that very good.
Yeah, most of them are already starting to be on the last leg of the bloom anyway, so they're not as pretty right now as what they would have been if we'd have.
Now, these are wild too.
Earlier. Yes, they grow wild around here, especially on the creek back here and all that.
We've got a couple back there on the creek.
Yeah,
This one
there's
is
several back
right up
there.
in our yard, right beside our house. That's one good thing about all of this is a lot of it is just right here
here
in
at
our
the
yard.
Yep.
Right here by the house. There's more elderberry down through there.
And then we got blackberry over there.
And blackberry grows wild all over here too. They're small. They're not real big. We do have one growing that is what we call a dewberry, and it has a way bigger,
Oh yeah,
bigger
they're huge.
fruit on it. And we have one of them growing that was growing beside the old barn. But there's our wild blackberry. It goes all the way down our property.
Yeah, all the way down the fence line.
Now, they are not real big blackberries. They're kind of small and they're wild, so they have thorns and seeds and everything. But they grow here wild anyway, so we just utilize them. Yep, we harvest them the best we can and use them. Here's something else that grows wild here is Jerusalem artichoke. And it grows all over the side roads and ditches here. And we had seen it everywhere. It grows wild everywhere here. But we decided to move a piece of it to our property so that we would have our own. And we moved this here just a couple of years ago, 2 years ago I believe it was. We moved 3 pieces.
This is the third year that it's come up.
Of Jerusalem artichoke that we moved here 3 years ago took over this whole big spot. So we are going to propagate this fall and break it up and use some of it and fill this whole area. We have a whole big spot here that used to be one of my herb gardens. We're going to fill it with this Jerusalem artichoke. Jerusalem artichoke has a tuber. The root, the tuber, is much like a potato. A little denser and a little bit different flavor, but a whole lot like a potato. And so this fall we're going to dig a lot of this up and use it and propagate it and spread it out in this whole area here, which won't take long to fill up, and we'll probably be digging it up trying to get rid of it.
Definitely.
Because this is what happened from 3 plants in 3 years. Here's another foraging that we had done. This is marshmallow. It grows wild here too. It grows all over the bottomland here. We are by the rivers, 2 rivers, and in the bottomland, the river bottoms, this grows wild all over down there. We moved a piece here last year, and it is coming back this year abundantly. That is marshmallow. This is medicinal. And Heidi over at Rain Country first introduced me to marshmallow. And when I realized what it was and saw that it grows wild here, we went and dug one up and brought it here. And I have learned a lot from Heidi at Rain Country about the medicinal properties of this. So check her out and check her video out. I'm not going to do a video right now on marshmallow, but you can check out Heidi at Rain Country and see what all you can do with marshmallow. This is what we call Mae Apple. Some people call it different names, and some people call Mae Apple something else, but this is what we here call Mae Apple. And it has a fruit on it that apparently the deer absolutely love. There's fruits on there, but we probably won't get any because as soon as they get ripe, the deer come in, or whatever it is. I think it's deer that eats them. Yeah, probably lots of things that eat them.
The single stem will not have a fruit on it. It's your...
The double stems?
The double stem
have a fruit.
Will have a fruit on it.
But it is really hard to get a Mae Apple because the varmints...
The wildlife absolutely love it.
Yes. They will come in and get it
just about as much
as soon as it ripens.
Passion fruit.
And so it's really hard to actually harvest Mae Apple around here because you can come out one day and
they'll be there.
They'll be there. Next day they'll be gone, and you're just like, okay, I guess they ripened and they ate them. Another thing that we forage around here, my dad used to dig these roots up and sell them, along with ginseng and golden root. This is bloodroot. And we moved a couple of pieces here years ago, probably 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah, it was right after we started buying the property.
The blooms just fell off not too awful long ago. It has a pretty little bloom on it in the spring, but those have fallen off. But we planted it here 10 or 12 years ago, and it is all down through this wood line. Right here where we planted it, it goes all up and down this whole wood line now. It's grown up right now, but in the early spring you can spot it because this overgrowth is not up yet, but the bloodroot will be. So we have videos on that. If you want to go back, I will link those videos in the description of this video, and you can go back and see our bloodroot. They make a lot of different medicinal medicines out of bloodroot, and the reason they call it bloodroot is because the root of it looks like a bloody finger.
Yes, they do.
And that bloodroot is growing there where our outdoor redneck hot tub is. Lee built me that a couple of years ago. We haven't used it a whole lot. We need to, but we haven't. It's got a hole. He dug a hole underneath it to put hot coals in, and you just fill it up with water from the water hose, and then he puts hot coals underneath it, and it don't take no time at all. It's a hot tub. We haven't used that a whole lot, but there it is. I'll get over here and get a shot. This is behind. There's a seat where you can sit and talk to the person that's taking the hot tub. And this is behind our clothesline. So I can hang up. We just planted all this. We planted all this after that and let it grow up. The hot tub we done a couple of years ago, and then we let this grow up to kind of hide it some. You can also put a sheet across the clothesline to hide it. So that's our Redneck Hot Tub.
Alright, and these are the Concord grapes, so they're purple and they get kind of a whitish film look on them when they're ready. They do have seeds in them though. But
they are doing pretty good this year.
Yeah, they're doing really good.
And here's a closer look at the two apple trees. And they are Gala apples. And they were loaded with blooms this year, so we're expecting a lot of apples on here hopefully this year.
A couple little ones right
There we go. Yeah, I'm trying to focus in there. There we go. But they were loaded with blooms this year, so we're expecting a good harvest this year.
Ones up there.
Where?
One up there.
I
don't know if you are. Yeah, I think you just got one.
All right. So there you go. Two of those. Now one had a little problem. Oh gosh, that was about the second year. It kind of got heavy on one side.
Yeah, from a limb and moles out here digging around it.
So he
all the rain.
staked that up.
And then I had to take that limb off. It was so far out that was weighing it down.
So that one's not doing quite as good as the other one, but it's coming along. It's came back out.
Little ones up there, I'm seeing.
Yeah, let's see. Little ones on it.
There's several little apples coming out on it already.
So it's doing fine. So there's our greenhouse that we built 2 seasons ago. I used it last year. I started plants in it, and it ended up having a leak. The roof was not just right. We've got a video showing how we fixed that and took care of the problem, and then we were able to start in it again this year. I started some in the house this year, but when I moved them out, he got the greenhouse fixed, and I moved them out here, and they just took off and done way better. And it's not leaking anymore, and it's working great now.
He doesn't believe you.
And we have videos on our greenhouse, how we built the greenhouse for under $300. And then we have a video on what was wrong with the roof and how we fixed that. And I will link those videos in the description. Of course, we have chickens and we have quail. And we have had pigs and a cow. We have videos of all that. If you've not seen our channel before and seen our videos, you can go back and see some of those. This is my herb garden. I'm real proud of it. Last year it looked really good, and I had a scarecrow woman in there. I don't have her set back up this year, but I have been working in here and getting everything going. I have videos on this. Just done a video recently on some of my herb garden. It's mostly herbs. It's also got a few vegetables. I like to have colorful things in this herb garden, so I have flowers and herbs and a few of the more colorful vegetables. Yeah, we have I have indigo apple tomatoes. I have Cherokee purple. I have Amana orange. I have black brandywine, and then I have mortgage lifters and romas. But more of the colorful ones are in this herb garden. I've got some dill and herbs right there in the middle, all the way down. We are going to expand this soon, and we are going to move the horse fence over to the other end of that lean-to. So that's going to give me about 10 more foot there of herb garden space. And I'm going to add some more features like table and chairs. We do a lot of foraging around here, and one of the things that we forage is actually more of a grass, like the plantain and the dandelions and the purslane and just different ones. Chickweed. We have dead nettle. We have all kinds of what most people call weeds that we utilize. A lot of that stuff I will just use in a salad and just throw some of those things in salad. But a lot of them are also medicinal herbs. Here's a spot that Lee had strawberries planted in, but since he moved those to raised bed, we are going to take this spot and move some of the wild lettuce to this spot so that we've got it all in one spot and he doesn't have to go out looking around for it. Wild lettuce we use a lot. We've got videos on the wild lettuce, and he goes out foraging for the wild lettuce. But we are going to move a bunch of it to this spot so that we've got it all right here on our property in one location. Right over here away from that is something that came up wild here. We found it a couple of years ago. Don't know if it's coming up right now, but right here in this spot we found self-heal, which is a medicinal herb. And so we blocked that off. We put a couple of rocks there so we'd know where it was at. Not coming up yet.
No, I'm not seeing nothing yet.
Okay.
It usually comes up.
So we've got that in a couple of videos also. But Lee found it one day and come and asked me, what is this? And I kind of thought I knew, but I had to look it up to make sure. And sure enough, it was self-heal. And we don't know if it grows wild around here or if somebody had planted it there a long time ago. But we're assuming it comes up wild here. Here's the big garden. This Lee takes care of the big garden most of the time. I help a little, but
Yeah, I got some weeding to do.
he's got this all planted. It's all planted. He's got a little weeding to do on this side, but he's weeded most of it. It's got, what, cucumbers. What all we got in here?
We got peanuts here,
Peanuts.
sunflower, some cucumbers, spaghetti squash, black-eyed peas, okra, green beans. They're up pretty good, that you can see. I had
A row of tomatoes, onions,
radishes
potatoes,
on the end,
radishes down there on the end,
and
some
dill.
more,
Yeah, potatoes,
peppers,
peppers,
and
tomatoes
tomatoes.
in the middle,
Yep.
peppers on the other end again.
Yeah. So anyway, what we have done this year, we didn't do any corn because we don't eat a lot of corn. We this year we decided to plant more of the stuff we love and none of the stuff that we don't hardly ever eat. We didn't do any squash. Also the corn, we just don't eat a whole lot of corn. We decided we've still got some canned from last year, and so we decided not to bother with that. When we bought this property, there was a few mobile homes here. We had one right over here that we lived in until we got our house built. There's still an electric pole there, and there was actually 3 or 4 electric poles here where they had had several trailers on this property. We just tore them all down and lived in this one until we got our house built.
Okay.
So here's some of our pecan trees. We've got 7 large pecan trees, a couple of little ones, and then we've got these large ones that Mr. Stringfield planted all up here in the front of the property. And so we utilize that, and we've got some videos showing some of that. There's about 3 big spots here of daylilies. These are our tiger lilies. These are the ones with the orange flower that comes up. There's 3 big spots of these. I never cared that much for them till I found out it was edible. And now I eat the flowers off of them. So we have left these and let them get big, and there's 3 big bunches of that out here that we are leaving because I picked the flowers off of them, and you can dip them in batter and fry them, or you can cut them up in a salad. So that's why those are there. Here is our Brassica Garden. There was an old barn here that we just recently tore down, and before that old barn had cattle in it at one time, and then horses in it at one time. And when we tore it down, that soil looked so nice and rich. Lee decided to put a garden there, and our brassicas are doing wonderful there. We've got cabbage, green cabbage, red cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower. And then on the outer side over here, he has planted watermelon. And these are doing really, really good.
All right. Also, guys, whereabouts we live at, right by the confluence of the rivers, there's a lot of ground that we call the river bottoms. It is just full of nothing but woods and fields and swamp ground and everything. There is just an abundance of wild plants that we can forage from. And one day we'll take y'all on a journey down through there and show you some of them.
So that's about the end of the tour. We did a lot of foraging, and we plan on getting rabbits. Our future plans, we plan on getting rabbits soon, and we would love to get a couple of pigs again sometime, pretty soon. So thanks for watching.
Give us a thumbs up,
Comment,
like,
subscribe,
and always God bless. And keep growing food.
or forage for some food.
That's what I do.
And we'll be showing you some of that too. So here we go.
A new station alert has arrived.
It's gonna rain.
Yep.
Go.
Hey y'all, chair time with Lee.
Okay, that's a blooper. Now start again and do it right. Nope, you ain't gonna be able to. Stop.
Quit, Sky.
Stop.
Quit. Also, in this area, whereabouts we live at, in this far western Kentucky area, where the rivers.
Dog attack.
Yeah. Hey, now I ain't got white on.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Hey y'all.
Hey, folks. Okay, let me start again. I'll say hey, folks, and then you can say something.
Wrinkly and 10 ton here.